Hey, welcome back to Moss and Mushroom ASMR. Today is going to be a quick little video, just tapping some random objects and reading geography facts. Just something nice and simple and chill. My voice might sound a little bit weird. I've just had, when you just have a frog in your throat, as the saying goes. Yeah, it's just been a little weird all day, so bear with me. I also just made Twitter. My handle is at ASMR_Moss, and I'll put it in the description box if you're interested in following me. I pretty much just tweet about ASMR things, but you all like ASMR. That's why you're watching this. So I'll put it down there if you're interested. So I am going to start out by tapping on this strange little ceramic jar. That's a good noise. So, I got these geography facts from Mental Floss, and I will link this little listicle article in the description too, just to make sure I give credit where credit is due. So, the first fact is, Africa is in a pretty central location. Africa is the only continent that is in all four hemispheres: north, south, east, and west. It is therefore the only continent to have land on the prime meridian and on the equator. Cool. Alaska is both the westernmost and easternmost state in the United States. Alaska is the westernmost and northernmost state in the U.S., which makes a lot of sense when you look at a map. But more surprisingly, the state manages to be the easternmost state as well. Parts of Alaska are so far west that the state actually stretches into the eastern hemisphere. Longitude lines converge at the top and bottom of the globe, so Puccini Point, Alaska has the easternmost longitude of any point in the country. I'm gonna switch to tapping my external hard drive, which contains all the ASMR. Let's see what it sounds like. Oh, that's good. Geography fact number 3. There are 3 countries that are completely landlocked by another country. Lesotho, San Marino, and Vatican City are the only countries to be surrounded by just one other country. Lesotho is landlocked within South Africa, while San Marino and Vatican City are surrounded by Italy. Fact number 4. Reno, Nevada is west of Los Angeles. Even when looking at a map, this fact is hard to wrap your head around. Despite being in Nevada and nearly 300 miles from the ocean, Reno is roughly 86 miles farther west than the coastal city of Los Angeles. Yeah, I don't have a map in front of me, but I'm having a real hard time picturing that. I don't think they're lying, but that's definitely the weirdest fact for me so far. 5. Maine isn't as far north as you thought. Estcourt Station, Maine is the northernmost community of New England. Despite being the highest town in the contiguous United States east of the Great Lakes, and therefore associated with frigid winters, it's surprisingly farther south than other cities across the Atlantic. London, for example, is nearly 300 miles north of that small Maine community, and Estcourt Station is also further south than Paris, Amsterdam, and Brussels. That is really weird. I've spent time in Maine, and it has to be colder than London. It has to. Okay. I'm gonna tap this beautiful but unwieldy bits of lavender in a jar. First, I'm gonna roll them around. Canada has a lot of lakes. Canada is the second largest country in the world. Whoa, really? Canada is the second largest country in the world, so it may not come as a surprise that it has a lot of lakes. But it might shock you that the country has more than half of all the natural lakes in the world. An impressive 9% of the country is covered in fresh water. That's very impressive. Ooh, this one's good. Number 7. The entirety of the world's population could easily fit in Texas. If the entire world were as densely populated as New York City, the whole population would only cover 250,404 square miles. That means the entire world could fit into the state of Texas. For comparison, if the world had the same population density as Houston, Texas, it would cover 1,769,085 square miles. Even then, being able to hypothetically fit over 7 billion people in an area smaller than half the United States is pretty impressive. Number 8. Australia may be surrounded by water, but it doesn't have the world's longest coastline. Being its own continent and being completely surrounded by water, you'd think Australia would easily have the honor of being the country with the longest coastline. However, that title goes to Canada. Canada has 152,100 miles of coastline, compared to Australia's 16,000 miles. In fact, Australia ranks 7th on the list of the world's longest coastlines, coming in behind Indonesia, Greenland, Russia, Philippines, and Japan. That makes sense that countries with a lot of individual islands would have more coastline. Number 9. I'm switching to this hollow wooden incense holder, which I really like the sound of. Number 9. Mount Chimborazo is closer to space than Mount Everest. Mount Everest is the tallest mountain on Earth, so it would stand to reason that the top of the mountain would be the highest point on Earth, and therefore closest to space. But when you remember that Earth is slightly oval-shaped, things get interesting. Our planet is slightly inflated around the equator, meaning countries like Ecuador and Kenya have a bit of an edge. With this added elevation, the top of Ecuador's Mount Chimborazo, which is only 20,564 feet tall, only, is closest to the stars. 10. Antarctica is home to almost all the world's fresh water. At 14 million square kilometers, about 5,400,000 square miles, the ice sheet in Antarctica is the largest solid ice mass on the planet. The enormous frozen structure contains about 90% of all the fresh water on Earth. 11. China and Russia are both bordered by 14 countries. Although China is just a little more than half the size of Russia, the largest country in the world, they share the same number of land neighbors. The 14 countries bordering China are India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, Russia, North Korea, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, Bhutan, and Nepal. And I apologize if I mispronounced any of those. Those were the 11 facts on this page. I thought they were really interesting. Yeah, I learned something new on every one. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a relaxing and wonderful rest of your night. I'll do a minute of some bonus tapping because I'm having fun with this.